hear me okay? Sorry, I just got off a plane. I have a slight cold, so bear with me. I believe I'm holding you from the first break. So, I promise if you bear with me for the next 20 minutes, I hope that you can take away at least one key learning, take back immediately to your marketing team or to your office, kind of following in line with Zach and Dalton's morning presentation. I'm also going to follow the rule of three, so I'll give you 3 steps to follow. And before we start, can anybody tell me what this picture on the left is? You can just shout it out. Bonsai tree. And the picture on the right. Great. So I promise by the end of this presentation, this will make sense, but I want you to keep this analogy in mind. And for those fans of Karate Kid or for the latest trends, Cobra Kai, you'll remember that the bonsai tree requires great precision, great patience, and it's a great way to sell cars, apparently, from the new series. But what we hope to do is help you become a sequoia tree and grow your business with Google. Anybody familiar with the game Go? It's a classic board game invented about 2,500 years ago. It's a classic Chinese board game, and it's one of the oldest and most complex games out there. In fact, there are more permutations in this game of Go than there are atoms in the universe. And because of that, researchers thought we were decades away from a computer program, an AI program, actually playing this game and beating top players. But in fact, back in 2016, DeepMind, which is a Google company, created a program called AlphaGo and had it study hundreds of thousands of top games from the top players in the world. And then it taught itself to play against itself to learn more. And actually pitted it against the grandmaster, Saud Ali, and beat him 4 games to 1. This was an incredible breakthrough in AI. But what happened next was even more fascinating. The team thought, what if we created a program and just taught it the rules and didn't even give it any human input? And they created AlphaGo Zero. And after 3 weeks of training of just playing against itself, it pitted AlphaGo Zero against the original AlphaGo program and beat it 100 games to 0. In fact, 2,500 years of human input was leading it in the wrong direction. So they thought they would try this with computerized chess, which has been around for much longer. And after 3 days of training, beat Stockfish 28 games to 0. So now I make this for 2 separate points. The first point is machine learning has evolved drastically just in the past couple years. As you can see, it's been around for a while, but it's now here and ready to be used. And I'm going to walk through how you can use that as marketers and use a lot of the machine learning that's powering Google's tools and platforms. Now, the second point is around timing. You've heard from these stories here, some machine learning algorithms take hours, some take days, and some take weeks or even longer. So I don't want you to get discouraged, but the benefit is the more time that machines have, the more data that it can consume, it just gets better over time. So keep that in mind as you use that from a marketing perspective and back with your companies. Now, obviously, we're not here to build computerized games, so I just want to share a quick example of how a business can use this in a real-life scenario. So AXA Insurance, one of the largest insurance companies in the world, been around for decades. They saw from their data that 8% of insured drivers were causing a car accident every year. And of that 8%, 1% required a fairly large payment. And through all their data and their teams and the decades of research, they were able to predict this accuracy at a 20 to 30% clip. So for an insurance company, you got to imagine how important that is to their bottom line, their operations, their cash flows, and et cetera. So they came to us with this challenge of, can we actually improve that accuracy rate? So we took all of their data, all their years of learnings, threw it in our Google Cloud and allowed our machine learning to analyze and predict some of these outcomes. And after a few weeks, we were able to improve that accuracy from 20 to 30% to 78% prediction accuracy. So for an insurance company, this is transformative. This is massive. Furthermore, according to OpenAI, machine learning power is doubling every 4 to 5 months. So that means over the next 5 years, we're going to see an increase of 300,000%. So if you're not using this today, imagine where the industry is going to be and perhaps where you may be left behind, even compared to the industry or your competitors. So the first step I want you to take is leverage what machine learning has built into its platform. Right, we've seen these trends, we've seen how it helps our own company even, and we've now built out our advertising tools to take advantage of our AI and machine learning. And a few of the products that I'm going to show really captures that. We want to make it as simple as possible for you to just say this phrase, and we will generate profits and help grow your business. Now, we're not there yet, but a few of our products are well on its way. Now, the first one is our advertising platform for apps, or what we call universal app campaigns. With this platform, you're allowed to serve up a few creatives, set your cost per download, so if you're willing to pay $1, $2, $3 per download, and we will service this across all of Google's properties. So across YouTube, Google, even our display network and Google Play. And what we found after several months of testing was this platform was 140% more effective than a human manually making all these changes. It was so effective, in fact, we made universal app campaigns the only way an app developer can now buy ads through our app platform. Now, we took these learnings and applied it to our smart shopping campaigns. I understand there's a few retailers in the crowd here who perhaps have used this before, but a similar concept where you can set a few creatives, send us which platforms, and send ROI, and we will maximize your sales. So for every $1 you invest, if you want $4 in sales, we can get you that across all of these platforms, including Gmail. And for those of you without an e-commerce store, this applies as well to your brick and mortar stores. So if you want to drive a price per visit, if you think every person that walks in your door is worth $1 or $2, as long as you let us know, we will drive as many store visits as possible through all these platforms. And we'll even pull in your Google My Business information. Now, our friends at Elite, or the new name, Tinuiti, if I pronounced that correctly, leveraged this with Big 5 Sporting Goods just recently. And they found using local campaigns and their shopping campaigns, they were able to drive a 13% increase in campaign ROAS. But what's really great was a 25% increase year on year in holiday store traffic. And this is during a period where we actually saw foot traffic for the industry decline overall. Now, the second step I want you to take is measuring the entire funnel holistically. And this is actually where a lot of our marketers trip up, or they have a lot of trouble getting around these metrics. So Betterment, for those of you unaware, they're one of the new robo-advisors. And they actually took this approach around measuring holistically. So they were investing in both search and YouTube, and they're finding great results in both. And what they started to notice was that for every $1 increase they had in YouTube, they saw a 245% increase in brand searches. Now, a lot of our marketers are still on a last click attribution model, which means for every conversion they get, for every lead, for every phone call, they attribute the value to the last source that it brought in, which is often search. So the best way to do this with their teams at Google or your agency is to start off with, tell us as much as you can about your goals. Like, what are you really trying to drive? And if it's, it could be leads, but it should also be what type of customers you want. What is that end goal that will hopefully drive more profit? Investing across the entire ecosystem. If it's a performance plan, going across search, shopping, display, and even YouTube for performance. However, instead of looking at these in silos, look at this holistically from a Google platform standpoint. And then share your results, right? Like, we're not going to have access to your back-end sales data, your profit data, but as much information as you can share, we can feed that back into the system and let the machines really learn and develop a plan. And if you could do all these three things, you're well on your way to a semi-automated marketing platform. Now, this has been a big ask from our customers for years now, and we're pretty close to delivering upon that vision. So as a quick example, if you have two advertisers here, same industry, same economies of scale, same conversion rate, and so forth, and both of these companies want a target CPA, a target cost per acquisition of $15. However, advertiser A doesn't care if that $15 by tactic. They just want an overall $15 CPA. Whereas advertiser B, which is actually a majority of our companies, they want each tactic to just hit that $15 mark. As you can see over time, even though they're both under 15 overall, advertiser A is just going to generate that many more leads, build up their database of customers that much more, and be able to funnel long-term growth. And the simplest way to become advertiser A is, again, just look at it holistically and see how many customers are you driving and what is your overall paid media results. Now, if you use all of our machine learning platforms and you start measuring this holistically, there's 5 rules that you can follow to help you really just accelerate that growth. The first rule is optimizing towards the right goal. So going back to an insurance company, a lot of their goals, or what we've learned from them, are we want to generate as many leads as possible. Now that makes sense, right? The more leads you can bring, hopefully with your conversion rates, the more customers you'll bring in and so forth. But the smarter marketers, the more advanced marketers, are taking this one step further. And they tell us their goals are actually policyholders. So they share the information of who their policyholders are, what is that makeup look like, and we can help optimize towards policyholders. And even one step further is actually who are those valuable policyholders, right? Who are the ones that are buying multiple products? Who are the ones that you can cross-sell to? Who are the ones that are actually long-term customers? And a few examples of companies that have used this in the real world. And all the examples I'm sharing today are actually up on our Think with Google website. It's a great repository of just industry trends and case studies. The URL is just www.thinkwithgoogle.com. So as you can see with the University of Minnesota, instead of saying they want to generate leads, they started saying we want to generate enrolled students. And by taking this approach, they saw a 28% increase in their enrollment. And for Sprint, kind of including the store data, they saw a 150% increase in conversions. Now the second rule is optimizing towards the right metric. So if we have 3 hotels here, again, same business, same economies of scale, same conversion rate, pricing, and so forth, but they have different marketing objectives and different marketing metrics. So the first one has a fixed budget. Again, I would say most of our clients that we work with, most of our marketers fit in this Hotel A category. Right, you have a $100K budget, you want to drive as many room rentals as possible, but that's your fixed budget. Once that money's up, you're done. You're on to the next quarter, I should say. Whereas Hotel B wants you to drive as many room rentals as possible, as long as it doesn't hit more than a 10% cost of sale. Again, a lot of our advanced marketers are fitting in this bucket where it's not a fixed budget, you just want to make sure they're profitable overall. However, the ones that are really driving growth and really transformative companies are Hotel C. They don't care. They want to maximize profit as much as they can. And in an industry like hotels, each unsold inventory or each sold inventory can go directly to the bottom line. Right? There's not a lot of variable costs with hotel rooms. So for Hotel A, they're going to generate, let's say, $2 million in revenue for their budget. Hotel B, taking it a step further, of $10 million, and Hotel C, $50 million. Now, when you look at the metrics, Hotel A is generating a 20 to 1 ROI, right? Just the revenue over the budget. Hotel B at 10, and Hotel C at 5. So for those bonsai marketers out there, they're fitting with Hotel A, right? They're touting this as a great success. They could generate a better ROI than the other industries and players out there. And that's generally how the industry has performed over the past several years. But do you really want to be Hotel A generating $1.9 million in profit when you can be Hotel C generating $40 million in profit? This is your Sequoia marketer. This is where you're going to grow as a redwood tree. And a company that recently took this approach is HomeAway, the vacation rental company. So they shifted towards profit optimization and automation, and they saw a 115% increase year on year in revenue. Now, the third metric is optimizing towards the long term. Now, this sounds pretty straightforward. Everybody should be doing this, but it's very hard to do this in real life, right? We have short-term goals. We want to generate as many sales, as many leads as possible in that short window. However, we've seen over the long term that those that are investing in a longer than 2 to 3 year horizon are the ones that are really driving change. So think about, again, for an insurance company, if you're the first, insurance A, you're just trying to drive as many sales as possible. But insurance B, they're trying to figure out who can you cross-sell to, who can you upsell to, who are those customers that you can reduce churn with. So Allstate, taking this approach, saw a 400% increase when they started to cross-sell and looking at customers holistically and really looking at the lifetime value of a customer versus a short-term goal of how do we just increase sales for this quarter. Now we know that 20% of our customers drive 80% of our profits. But one, it's really hard to find that type of information. And two, if you have that, it's really difficult to figure out how to leverage that information. So as an example, take a scenario where you have cruise ships that are selling two different packages, right? You have a $3,000 package and a $5,000 package. And rightfully so, a lot of companies will optimize for that $5,000 package, right? It's more profitable in the short term, you're generating a bigger profit. But if you have that level of insight of who the best customers are, what if that $5,000 cruise sale is going to newlyweds, right? It's a one-time purchase. It's a honeymoon, let's say. But that $3,000 sale could actually be recent retirees who are going to start going on cruise ships every single year. Now, all of a sudden, that $3,000 customer is going to be more profitable in the long term. But without having that little piece of intel, that little nugget of information, you're just going to try to maximize profit in the short term. And there are several companies that have taken this approach. I won't go through each of these, but encourage you to really visit the Think with Google website to learn more. And one thing that you can do to immediately make this mindset shift, or as you go back to your office today, is again, changing from a tactical precision marketer and looking at this overall of how do you drive profit growth holistically. Now, if you use automation, if you're following those 4 marketing rules, the last step, the last rule, is still on you as a company, as you as in sales. Right? We'll do our best to drive the right leads, the right customers, and so forth. But at the end of the day, you still have to close them. You still have to make that sale. So the 5th rule is fairly straightforward. How can you increase that conversion rate? So all else being equal here, retailer B in the long run is going to vastly dominate retailer A purely because they have a higher conversion rate. Now, Alibaba is one of the largest companies in the world. They've been doing extremely well, very profitable, but they didn't really rest on the laurels. They had a mobile optimized site that was generating billions of dollars in revenue. But as they continue to test and iterate, they launched a progressive web app, and they saw 76% lift in conversions. So this is a massive company that saw a massive change by not being complacent and continuing to evolve and change. So overall, again, as I'll walk you through the 3 steps, the first one, machine learning and automation is here. You need to start taking advantage of it immediately. And the more that you can use it, the smarter it gets, and the more profits that will drive. Number 2 is to measure this holistically. Look at the full funnel. Don't be a bonsai marketer that's looking at each tactic and trying to get as precise as possible. Look at it overall and how much Google or your other marketing channels can generate revenue and profit. And lastly, follow the 5 rules. Right? You want to optimize towards the right metric, optimize toward the right goals, invest in the long term, acquire the best customers, and improve your conversion rate. And if you follow these 3 steps, you will start to see the benefits improve greatly. So if you're going to take one thing away, here's kind of a quick cheat sheet of questions to ask when you take this back to your marketing team. And I won't read through these, but these should be able to provide some valuable insights on where your gaps are or where you actually need to look forward. Now, the gentleman earlier mentioned there's a Google Analytics team outside that will help you even just find out how can we improve your conversion rates or where are those drop-offs. So start immediately taking some of these questions to your team or leverage your agency partners here to solve these challenges. And with that, we really want to help you build sequoias and not bonsais. Thank you.